Center is sold out tonight for the first and only scheduled meeting of the regular season between Depaul and Marquette. ESPNU College Basketball presented by City. Two shockers in the Big East today, and tonight this race is tightening up. It could get even tighter if West Virginia beats Georgetown and Depaul finds a way to win here in Milwaukee against Marquette. Marquette's in the second half of the standings, but don't expect the Eagles to hang around there for long, especially if they can get a win tonight. Greetings and welcome. Jim Barber along with Mike Kelly. This game important to both teams for a lot of reasons. Let's begin with Marquette. 2 weeks without a win. Got to protect home court.
Oh, absolutely. This is a Marquette team. Some people want to say it's a must-win. I don't believe any of those things. They want to get home, protect their home court, but it's a long season. Obviously, though, protecting the home court would be huge.
Let's get to our Star Watch tonight. Draylon Burns played high school basketball in the city of Milwaukee. He's back tonight, and he's got plenty of friends to go along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, it's sold out. He can't get as many as he wants in
Yes.
here, but nonetheless, these are the guys that are going to drive the bus. We've got two teams that want to go up and down, play fast, and these are the guys that will lead the team.
Dominique James with a sore wrist, but he won't play tonight. Only 12 points in the last 2 games. James heads up Marquette in that good-looking backcourt that can steal the basketball and go from end to end to score, while Depaul has plenty of experience, except with the freshman Koshwell, but this team captain's a good-looking kid.
Yeah, absolutely. A freshman captain, started every game so far this year. A very mature player.
John Cahill, Jim Haney, and Brian Kersey will officiate tonight's game. Depaul on the road blue, and Marquette in the home white.
Worth mentioning, Jim, Dan Fitzgerald in the starting lineup again at the 5 spot, but you could call him a big guard at times. He will play outside the 3-point arc, likes to shoot the 3, and Depaul will have to guard him out on the perimeter.
Both James and Fitzgerald have had wrist problems as we get set, ready to tip this off. The two teams played just once last year in a game that was won on Valentine's night at Depaul, just outside Chicago. Always a great atmosphere here at the Bradley Center for this game.
Sold-out crowd. Jim, I'm looking for both teams to try to get up the court fast. I think transition defense will be the key to this game. Whatever team can get back, set their defense, will be the team that comes out the victor.
And that is a big concern of Jerry Wainwright and the Depaul Blue Demons, as discussed today in the shoot-around. Depaul on offense first. This is Draylon Burns.
Marquette opens in man-to-man.
To Clark. Down to Koshwell. Had a super game against Georgetown early in the season. He draws the double, and here comes Marquette off the steal. From the free throw line, second opportunity, no. Picked up by Marquette, and now Depaul numbers for the Blue Demons.
Yeah, we see Marquette getting into transition off of that steal by Hayward.
And Burns, a long, quick shot missed. Dominique James back the other way. His shot is missed. Teams playing end-to-end, and it's back to the Blue Demons, and they get on the push very quickly. A little sloppy in the early going, but both teams have a lot of energy, certainly.
Now, one of the things that Jerry Wainwright wanted to do for Depaul was make some shots, because obviously you want the points, but it slows Marquette down.
The two teams remain scoreless as Karan Clark gets the rebound, and we've played more than a minute. Some jitters out there, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I just think right now we've got two teams that are playing fast, as they like to do, and you're going to get that in this type of game. They'll go up and down. They'll miss some shots.
And Wainwright's biggest concern is that the team needs to shift to other gears. Sometimes it plays too fast in instances where it needs to shift on down and get a little slower.
Yeah, Jerry Wainwright, a great coach and a great man. Fun to talk to always whenever you get a chance to speak with him. And you're right, Jim. One of the things he was worried about is how his team would get back in transition, how they would change gears. They like to play fast, but you can't take bad shots. So far, we've seen one bad decision on the baseline.
Clint Scales, the point guard, handles for Depaul, and here's Karan Clark. Guarded by Fitzgerald in a scoreless game so far. Guard Tucker to Clark. Clark shooting off the dribble, scoring off the dribble.
Clark's quite an athlete. He's got a great body on him, good size, and when he can get that mid-range game going, that's when he plays his best.
Jarrell McNeil handles with the left hand as Marquette still looking for his first points, and there's Dominique James.
You'll notice Depaul playing man-to-man. The book on playing Marquette is go zone, but Depaul wants to go man so they can match up in transition.
And a good pass in the post. Shot missed. Rebound taken down by Will Walker. Here comes Depaul, the alley-oop.
Oh. There's Dar Tucker. He'll get one of those every game, and now a steal for Depaul.
Walker with a steal, unable to keep it in the play. Depaul very aggressive in the early going and getting above the rim. Well, we were promised that today in shoot-around that this would happen at least once for Tucker, and here it is.
Yeah, it does happen just about once a game for Dar Tucker. He starts it off early. The nice freshman out of Michigan. He's been on ESPN's top 10 plays of the day twice this year. I don't think they keep stats on that, but somehow he's already done it twice.
He might keep it. 0 for 5, now 0 for 6 for Marquette. Fitzgerald with the rebound. Another try, McNeil from the corner, now 0 for 7.
Missing shots, been a problem for Marquette in their 2 road losses.
Demons take it away and come down with numbers. Clink scales, and he threw it away. He had on the wing Clark. And to miss an opportunity to score. Tom Crean's team has only played twice in the last 2 weeks, but blown out in both games against Louisville and Georgetown. And again, James, not completely healthy in either of those.
Yeah, and the big challenge right now for Tom Crean, this Marquette team, is how do you knock down shots? I mean, you're working for good shots, you're getting good looks. They shot almost 50% from beyond the arc in that game against Connecticut, but nonetheless, it wasn't enough. I think that Louisville game was the one where they came out so cold, 0 for 12 from beyond the arc.
Here's McNeil trying to get something inside, so the attack by Marquette going inside this time works effectively. Hayward with a hoop, and the shutout is broken.
Hayward's that guy for this Marquette team, giving them the inside presence, although as a four-man, he actually likes to step out and hit the 3, too.
And with that basket, everybody in the expensive seats in front of us can now sit down and enjoy, and then we'll get a clearer view.
Here's Traylon Burns, likes to work in that mid-range game, too.
Against Dominique James, and Fitzgerald with another rebound for Marquette. Here come the Golden Eagles. Now they turn it over. It's a 2 against none, and Clink Scales,
look at this,
will do a little highlight. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh man.
And a foul. You could see it coming, Jim. You could see it coming the whole way. Clink Scales, a guy, recognizes he's got Dar Tucker behind him, but this is a mistake. You don't go for this on the road, maybe at home, but you see why. You get an easy 2 points taken away. You get a foul. And this is a guy in Clink Scales who actually is pretty good with the basketball. He's generally a good decision maker, takes good care of the rock. That time, a lapse in judgment, of course, trying to get his freshman into the mix. Dar Tucker already had 1. That was a chance at number 2.
After this shown on SportsCenter a couple hundred times, you think every coach in the country will have a tape to show their guys?
Absolutely.
McNeil with the jumper from the outside leaves it short. Eagles still cold, and this time I think they'll do it right. Yep. Tucker slams it home. Second slam of the game. 6-2 Depaul. And how about the Marquette slow start time?
Yeah, it's those interceptions for touchdowns that coaches are always afraid. That's what we're seeing already. Turnovers for points.
1 for 9 for Marquette. Tucker above the rim twice so far. Effectively. 6-2 Blue Demons. 4 minutes into our game here in Milwaukee. ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Citi. Whatever your story is, your Citi card can help you write it. Citi, let's get it done. Jim Barber with Mike Kelly. Depaul getting it done with a 6-2 lead. Marquette just 1 for 9 shooting, and Dominique James has taken only 1 field goal attempt and has missed that. Well, I grew up outside of Chicago. You're born and raised Milwaukee. I mean, these are fighting words when these two cities get together, and let's take a look at the rivalry and how it's been going so far.
Yeah, I don't know who wrote up this graphic, but it's pretty much domination from Wisconsin as of late. Don't you think, Jim? I mean, the Packers dominating the NFC North.
Yeah, the Cubs won the Central Division, though.
Yeah,
but forgotten that, have you?
We don't want to let facts get in the way of a good story. I think the young players on this Brewers team, you think about Prince
we could go on
Ricky
and on.
Weeks.
We got a game here to get to.
It's pretty clear to me the Brewers are the better franchise at this point.
Yeah, right. Bears and Packers, by the way, the Bears swept the Packers this year and beat them toward the end of the season 35-7.
Yeah, but you see, you fail to realize all we were really doing is throwing off their draft pick for next year.
Okay.
They weren't really a threat, so you throw a couple games.
And nobody lately wants to talk about the Bulls or the Bucks, right?
Yeah, I think we'll stay away. Okay. Bobby Simmons in the crowd, though.
And Travis Diener came back home the other night as a member of the Indiana Pacers to play the Bucks.
Started that game, played a very nice game.
6-4 our score. Clinkscales on offense for Depaul up against the Golden Eagles. And he penetrates and he scores off the left hand. Cliff Clinkscales with a drive down the lane.
Yeah, he's a guy who doesn't look for his shot first, but he certainly can do it. And at that point, it was Acker putting on so much pressure that Clinkscales had no choice but to get
With Dominique James out to Jarrell McNeil. And he bounces it right back to James, taken away on the baseline. Depaul had it, and Depaul comes up with a turnover.
Yeah, and another turnover by Marquette. That's 3 already. A few of them for points as well.
Here's Draylon Burns coming back home with a 3.
Now, Burns likes to start fast. He started off with 3 3-pointers in their game against Villanova, a game they almost had. They should have had on the road. You see him starting to get off early here.
James with a fake, misses the shot. Marquette now 1 for 10.
Well, I think Marquette might be better served trying to get that ball inside a little more. They had some success when they got to Hayward. This is a team built on the perimeter, but it's still, with any team, the closer you can get to the basket, the higher percentage shots you're going to get.
Real rough start to Tom Crean's game tonight, shooting just 10% from the floor, averaging 47% for the season. A lot of people asked Tom about what's wrong with Marquette with the 2 losses. He said, you know, on the road, it's most difficult to win. And with us having only played a third of our Big East season, no time to get too concerned.
Yeah, you can get too high or too low this early in the season. But there's the inside presence I talked about. You get Ousmane Barrow in the game. A high percentage shot, and I think Marquette would be better served if they can go inside first before heading back out.
Barrow shooting 54% for the season, and back the other way, the fine freshman Matt Coswell using the glass.
And Coswell can put the ball on the ground. Did a nice job there of using the glass.
Eagles look again to Ousmane down low, takes Coswell, misses, and on the crash for the boards, here comes Matt Coswell. He's running to court. He's the big guy. Addition to the wing, shot missed, tip missed. Third opportunity, maybe, no. And back comes Marquette with some numbers, 3 against 2, and here's Maurice Acker. McNeil down low, and Ousmane off the bench with 2 field goals already.
Yeah, well, that's Marquette's game. They want to get out in transition, and you see them much better in the transition game when they don't have to set their offense and the defense doesn't get in front of them. Nice job by Jarrell McNeil finding the open man after driving.
Barrow averages 4 a game, and Ousmane already has that 4 to match as each team makes 2 substitutions. Let's take a look at Coswell.
Well, Barrow not the fastest with his feet on defense there, and he gets beat. But here's McNeil coming the other way and feeding Barrow for those 2 quick buckets that you talked about, Jim. It's a Marquette team trying to get in transition. The other thing Tom Crean talked about this week was getting to the free throw line. This is a team that, when they're driving a lot, teams have to put their hands on them and then get to the line.
Milwaukee Journal Sentinel addressed in today's paper problems in the post. Marquette wants to get more production from its 3, 4, and 5 guys.
Well, you got to do more and pay lip service to it, but you got to feed those big guys, and they've done that to Barrow so far.
Here comes Acker, who's got a great assist-to-turnover ratio over the last 4 games. He's the Ball State transfer.
4-1 assist-to-turnovers in the last 4 games. Coming on well, this Marquette team.
Matthews, did it go off him? No, off the Blue Demons with 12:47 to go in the first half. DePaul leading 13-8. Blue Demons start conference play at 4-2 tonight. Marquette at 3-3.
Here's Kubiak with the ball. He's the guy I think is a difference maker when he's on his game. Last year had a great year coming off the bench. And this year has yet to really been that guy that we saw last year hitting shots as Ecker misses badly. But I think when Kubiak can come off the bench, it opens up a lot of things for this Marquette team. Different lineups because he can be such a great shooter from the outside. He's not shooting it terribly, but we still haven't seen that great spark plug off the bench just yet.
First name pronounced David, spelled D-A-V-I-D, as Acker gets a rest. Marquette is 0 for 4 from the 3-point line and 3 of 14 in the first half. Hardly a welcome home after being away for a couple weeks.
As a result, this crowd, this sellout crowd, has yet to really get into it.
There's Green with a jump shot. Wesley Green, the senior, typically jumps center, can post up, and on that play can shoot.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Green, at almost 300 pounds, he actually likes to play at the top of the key. Marquette fans may remember Damon Key. used to play for them, and Damon Hughes always trail that break, and Wesley Green is kind of that type of player, big guy that can go outside.
Let's see if they can find a look for James. So far he was 0 of 2, and before that happens, offensive foul called on Marquette. Great beginning for the Depaul Blue Demons, and a rough one with James and the Golden Eagles. 15-8 Depaul, 11:52 remains in the first half.
Hello, Galindo, and this is your sports interview in-game update. Alex Ruoff is doing his work for West Virginia as they host Georgetown. There's Ruoff with the three-pointer. And Georgetown trailing by 9 in the second. Washington State over Arizona State in the second. And Texas Tech knotted up at 6, still very early. Jim, all these highlights at halftime.
And Lowell, Georgetown can join the list of upsets if the Hoyas are beaten by West Virginia. This is upset Saturday in the Big East. Let's start with Connecticut and a terrific win in Bloomington without 2 players who've been suspended from the other night when Connecticut beat Cincinnati in the Queen City. The Irish, McElharney and Heron going huge 55 points. They took charge early in this one, but Rutgers is the biggest surprise of all.
This is amazing. This Rutgers team almost knocked off DePaul at DePaul. Should have had that game, kind of gave it away at the end in the second half, but right now the big picture, if you go around the Big East, is we thought this would start to shake out already, but I guess it isn't. Everybody thought Georgetown would be that team, and West Virginia's giving them all they can handle. Right now, I think what you try and figure out is who are going to be those 4 teams that get the first round bye in the Big East tournament. Everybody trying to play to win the league, but at the very least, if you can get that first round bye, that's key for your postseason success.
You saw Dominique James moments ago without a field goal so far. He does have 2 free throws. Clint Scales handling way out high, and as he goes to the basket, he is fouled. Kubian picks up the personal.
Here's the thing about guarding a guy like Clint Scales so aggressively out on the perimeter. I mean, that was at half court that Kubian's guarding him so hard that he forces Clint Scales to drive, where actually I think Clint Scales then becomes an offensive threat. When you back off a guy like Clint Scales, he actually just wants to set up the offense and distribute the rock.
2 assists tonight for Cliff. He has, for a career, 321 assists at DePaul. 68% free throw shooter. Draylon Burns re-enters. Let's take a look at Cliff's free throw style up here, Mike.
Well, he doesn't have the best form, but he's come a long way. Actually shooting pretty well from the field. You can watch this here. This isn't necessarily how the coaches teach it, but he's improved.
Missed them both. Rebound taken down by Hayward. So it's an empty possession for DePaul, and Marquette trying to get something going offensively with the ball, and Dominique James. Down to the low post, foul called, and free throws coming up for Hayward.
Well, I like that set by Marquette. They had 2 options. They had Hayward down low on the block, who ended up getting the ball, but they also had Kubian coming off a double screen at the top of the key, and I like both of those options for them. James wisely gets it into Hayward, who can work down low with success, and he gets to the free throw line.
Hayward can play any position in the front court, 3, 4, or 5. And he is a strong free throw shooter at 81%.
And he struggled last year from the field, but didn't get an early start with his team. Had to get cleared to play with a Marquette squad and put him behind, and you have to say it really affected his shooting. Coaches talked about what a good shooter he was coming out of high school. We didn't see it last year, but this year he's really come on strong, hitting the outside shot, getting to the free throw line, and an all-around top performer for this Marquette team.
And Marquette now 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Just 3 players have scored for Marquette, 6 different ones for DePaul. Here comes James in the front court. This is what Wainwright was concerned about. In transition, quick baskets.
Yeah, you got to get back and get in front, and that all started, though, with the long shot and the long rebound. Guard Tucker took a deep 3, maybe a bad shot, but that leads Marquette right into their transition game.
Tom Crean excited about it, trying to get his guys to make that happen more often than not tonight, which would make DePaul in a bad spot. Clark on the drop down to Coswell, who takes his man, and as he looks toward the low post, dishes out to the high post, and the outside perimeter shot is missed. Here comes Wes Matthews, crossing over with a dribble. Great pass to Hayward and the layup.
Yeah, that's when they do their best work in transition. Jared Wainwright going to get a timeout here, realizing his team not good enough getting back, getting in front.
Transition to Marquette in high gear, and the Eagles are down 1, 10:20 to go. Over 18,000 tonight for Marquette and Depaul from ESPNU with Mike Kelly, Jim Barber, 1-point game. And transition for Marquette has been the difference over the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, the thing about it for Marquette, it's not always just off of turnovers. They can actually grab a missed shot, sometimes even a made shot, and transition that fast into their offensive game. That for Depaul, you got to be very alert. At least send one guy back, maybe two guys, to make sure you can stop them.
6-0 run for the Golden Eagles. Karan Clark way out high against Hayward. Off the glass, rolls in and out. And Depaul, an effort to rebound the basketball, knocks it out. We're up to the mid-news for everything that is college sports. Log on to ESPNU.com. If you don't have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com. Type in your zip code at the top of the page or call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Log on to ESPNU.com today. Nick Scales gets it into Draylon Burns, who works his man, and he is called for an offensive foul. First on him in this game.
Well, that's a matchup DePaul wants to get. They want to get Burns on the block. They think he can post up just about any guard, maybe not Wesley Matthews, but they like his chances against everybody else, and that time it's Dominique James bodying him up, and they're going to get the offensive foul. I didn't see it the first time around. I thought it was just some good physical play, but that's a big foul for DePaul.
See Jerry Wainwright's reaction? He didn't see it either.
I don't think he saw it either, yeah. You know, he said, though, this is a game on the road. You're going to get some tough calls. You got to be able to fight through that.
Now here comes Coswell, can run the court very nicely for a big guy. Burns will hold up as DePaul doesn't have numbers. Leading by 1, 15-14 against the 20th rated team in the country. And the Eagles have dropped in the poll over the last 2 weeks because of a couple of defeats. Here's Coswell inside, ball nearly taken away from him. Got it back,
wow.
Scored it.
I'm not sure. He even looked at the hoop before he put that ball up. He got it so fast off the ground and up to the rim. Nice play by the big fella down low.
He's a nice looking freshman.
Absolutely. You can see why he's a captain only as a freshman.
Bullet pass from James inside, and Burke is going to the free throw line. Nice recognition by Dominique James, as this team now has done a better job of attacking inside. And back to the other end, Matt Coswell fighting for the loose ball and getting it scored.
Yeah, and getting it right up. He puts the ball on the ground, it gets knocked away. But a nice job of recovering. You know, there's a guy, freshman, he's a captain of the team. You never see that. He started every game this year. Last time that happened was Bobby Simmons, a current Buck, who's in attendance, was the last guy to do that for DePaul.
Foul was on Wesley Green, his first team foul number 5, and Burke, who has missed the first free throw, has another coming as Dan Fitzgerald, who started tonight's game, re-enters.
Burke, one of those X factors for Marquette. That's some good games, most notably the game against Wisconsin. Marquette got a big victory going on the road. Played very well and beat a good Wisconsin team. That's a signature win for Marquette. Burke had a lot to do with that. They need those type of games if they want to challenge for a Big East title.
And how about Burns challenging the defense there, shooting off the dribble and scoring?
You know, it's just a pick at the top of the key and late to react. This Marquette left Burns wide open.
Fitzgerald, who's a terrific three-point shooter. McNeil on a hop down low, and James may have touched him on the line. And another turnover by Marquette. For Marquette, that's 6 here in roughly 11 and a half minutes.
Well, they're opening up some lanes to drive. Just weren't able to take advantage that time as McNeil loses the ball inside. But on the defensive end, you got a guy like Draylon Burns, leads this team, 18 points a game. You got to have better recognition when he's got the ball in his hands. That was just a simple ball screen that opened up that three.
Jabari Curry in the game for DePaul. He's a good three-point shooter, shooting over 40%. Marquette will have to keep him in check this evening.
He was out shooting threes about an hour and a half before tip, getting some extra reps in.
He's got good range, doesn't he, Mike?
Absolutely.
Trouble there for Burns, a turnover, and here comes James on the drive to the basket, and a foul called. And a blocking foul on Curry, who did not get his feet set.
Yeah, we go back to the whole concept of interception for touchdowns. Some coaches like to call them, but basically it's turnovers for points. And you see Marquette, Dominique James, able to corral that ball and get back, and now he's going to go to the line for some easy shots. That's something Depaul wanted to limit. They gave up a few early, and now they give up another one to James here. They can't let those type of mistakes accumulate. It will be that much harder to get a road victory.
To Depaul's credit, the crowd has been out of the game so far. And you don't want this partisan house getting going with 18,000 plus favoring Marquette.
Yeah, this is a Marquette team that has dismantled some very good teams at home. The last team they did that to was Notre Dame. They jumped all over them early. That's a good Notre Dame team, but they never had a chance in that game.
Most lopsided win over the Irish in history in that series. 7 of 8 now for Marquette, the free throw line, and it's keeping the Eagles hanging around Depaul. Meantime, just 0 of 2. Clark backing Fitzgerald down and shooting long and way off the mark. Tucker tipped it once, and it was touched last by Marquette. We have a television timeout. 2017 our score in favor of the Demons. Come to Marquette University, first thing you think of is Al McGuire and the wonderful history that he put together with this school, which included a national championship. That's Rick Majerus on the sidelines, isn't that?
And Hank Raymond's in between Majerus and Al McGuire.
Big Mo, Maurice Lucas, who went on to a terrific career in the pros. Doc Rivers, who's leading Boston to a wonderful season so far. And Dwayne Wade, who got Marquette to the Final Four. And by the way, today they won a game.
There you go. That's the story right there. And one of the things you got to credit this Marquette staff and what they do. They really honor the history and the tradition of the program. And it's obviously a rich history, rich tradition. A guy like Al McGuire is such a great man. And on the anniversary of his death,
7 years ago today, passed away in Milwaukee, grew up in New York City, was born September 7th, 1928. 7 years ago to the day that Al passed away.
There you go. Good coach, but a better man. And I think it's hard to find anybody who met him and came in contact with him that doesn't have a good story to tell. And they always seem to smile whenever you bring up Al's name.
He made me feel good the first time I met him. He called me young fella. And that was just, that wasn't, you know, several decades ago either.
Still missed.
Indeed. Clinkscales out high for Depaul with 20 to shoot, 7.5 for the opening half. Neither team getting their stars into much offensive production so far. Burns a step back 3 over McNeil. And good block out by Usman Barrow. On the break, Fitzgerald to the basket, pinned up by the goal. And goaltending on Matt Coswell. But he can still run the court and get back to the pin.
Yeah, but it's a nice job by Fitzgerald. Filling the lane, running that secondary break. You watch here as Coswell goes up. This DePaul team, they're quite the athletes. They can really get up. But a good call. That ball hit the backboard before he got his hands on it. But you know, Jim, you saw Burns there trying to create for himself. I think the last few possessions for DePaul, what we've seen is not a lot of movement. But one guy with the ball, dribbling a lot, trying to create for himself. We saw Clark try to do it. Then we saw Burns that last possession create some space. I mean, he can do that. He's not a guy that has to have a screen. I think it's always better if we can work together. At least get some movement. It'll open up some lanes to drive.
Well, and the point guard to follow that point is a Cliff Clinkscales who can create. And you think that when you're the off guard and you try to make the creation happen, that you're really taking away some of the role of someone else. College basketball on ESPNU continues Sunday afternoon. The Army Black Knights face the Navy Midshipmen. You know what the football rivalry is like? Check out basketball. College hoops on ESPNU Sunday at noon Eastern. For more info, log on to ESPNU.com.
Greg Spring, the Navy midshipman, leads that Patriot League in scoring 21 points a game.
He is a wonderful player. Draylon Burns, by the way, now with 2 personal fouls for DePaul, and he remains in with under 7 minutes to go in the first half. And DePaul will be a world of hurt if he has to find himself on the bench as time goes along. Another turnover by way of the Blue Demons, and Marquette needs a little help in the backcourt. And they'll use a timeout instead.
Well, it was good help side rotation by Marquette. That created that turnover. Actually looked like it was going to be easy 2 points. But you always got to rotate from the weak side, and a nice job by Marquette to get that steal.
Let's go inside the Marquette huddle and what might be the strategy at this point.
Well, I think what you've done now is you battle back. You know, you were down early. You're down 1 at this point. I think you try to go back to whatever you do best. And I think for Tom Crean, you can't get in a transition game out of a timeout. So what you can do is try and drive and get in the lane. Maybe get to the free throw line, something you talked about a lot this week. And so you put the ball in the hands of your stars. You got McNeil out there, Kubian, who can shoot from beyond the arc, but he can still put it on the ground as well. And James also in the game. You give it to them, maybe set a screen. But the focus on the offensive end is go to those high percentage shots, and that's either getting in the lane and finishing at the rim or getting to the free throw line if you get fouled.
Let's offer a correction. Draylon Burns has 1 foul, not 2. The last foul says to Will Walker. Eagles on home white and McNeil on a drive to the hoop. Barrow with a foul and Coswell with a block. And so it remains a 1-point lead for Depaul.
But Marquette did go back to that, trying to drive, penetrate, get in the lane. Got a good percentage shot, just missed it.
Blocks Clark, ball taken away by Barrow. He's had a good game to this point. James crossover to the hoop, and Marquette goes ahead.
Yeah, give an assist to Barrow, though. He won't get it on the stat sheet, but Fitzgerald tried to overplay and come around in front of the post, gave up the lane to the basket, but it was Barrow and the help side defense that created the steal.
Dominique James now with 8. Clay Scales handling way out high to Clark, now deep in the corner against Fitzgerald. Here's Draylon Burns, tough shot, left it a little short, and it's out of bounds to Marquette. Let's take the Eagles from defense to offense, which is one of their specialties.
Yeah, you take a look. It's the block by Barrow, realizing that if he can get it out in transition, that's where they get their easiest buckets. Dominique James, the little fella, knowing how to finish on the offensive end.
DePaul had a strong start to this game. Marquette has worked its way into the lead by 1, 21-20. For the first half, 8 Blue Demon turnovers have had something to do with it, as this run now has reached 13-5. Ball stripped away from James, and here come the Blue Demons on the break. Tucker on a pull-up, missed it. Coswell offensive board, he missed that one. And a foul called inside.
Boy, DePaul can't buy a bucket right now, even when they get the good looks. Missing some bunnies inside. 13-5 Marquette run, you see it there. Marquette taking advantage of some turnovers. Looked like they had an easy bucket opportunity as James drove the lane, but got it knocked away by some quick hands off the DePaul defender.
Foul on Hayward, and here's Coswell at the line. His coach calls this young freshman a world-class athlete. 6'10", 250 pounds, and we've already seen Michael him run the court.
Yeah, he can run the court. No, they've got Wesley Green, the big fella, 300-pounder. He's actually a guy you'd think would be on the block, but he plays at the top of the key more than anything. Can put the ball on the ground, and Coswell's the guy, though. Likes to work with his back to the basket. While he get in the open court, he's got some good moves down on the block.
Matt Coswell with 5 points and 6 boards here in the first half. Jarrell McNeil taking it off the dribble and a little floater puts Marquette up by 2.
Yeah, we're seeing Marquette now try and put the ball in the ground, get in the lane. So often coaches talk about touches in the paint. That's a key for Marquette, a perimeter-oriented team with the quickness to get in there. They've done a nice job the last 3 possessions of doing that.
McNeil's strongest game this year against Oklahoma State when he scored 20. Coswell backing down a smaller player, throws a pass to Tucker. And Tucker out of control. McNeil with the rebound, and the foul by Clark prevents a breakaway because DePaul would have been in trouble. Marquette was off the races with James and Matthews, and both of them had big grins on their face.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing is Marquette more active on the defensive end right now. They're jumping the ball screens. You watch this here. And DePaul's playing fast. That's a quick pass. Nice job by Tucker just to corral and keep it in bounds, but a wild shot. And I think that's a byproduct of this Marquette team increasing their intensity, their ball pressure. They kind of force you into making some mistakes and making some passes you normally wouldn't make. And there you see Tucker with the wild shot. I think you give credit to Marquette for forcing him into something like that.
Ron Clark picked up the personal foul, and McNeil gets the first made free throw.
Nice story about Terrell McNeil, one of the Chicago papers today. Such a great defender, one of those guys that gets out there, feeds off his defense first to create his offense.
Depaul looking for some type of chemistry in its offense. It has struggled since the large lead it had at the beginning. A lot of dribbling and not much spacing going on out there.
But look where they're working with the ball. I mean, they got Clinkscales out at half court, getting nothing inside.
With 5 to shoot, shot short. Taken down by the Eagles. Here they come again.
Can't draw it up any better for Marquette.
Dominique James misses the layup. Good long lead pass from Green. Layup missed. Follow up by who else? Dar Tucker.
That's number 3. How many? There's top 10, right? So
yeah.
He's going to leave room for somebody else.
And that doesn't include the miss at the beginning of the game when they tried to go showtime and it blew up.
But that's Wesley Green doing his best Kevin Love impersonation, getting that ball out with the great outlet pass.
Dominique James has reached double figures with 10. Any signs of that sore wrist bothering him tonight?
No, I haven't seen it at all, and I wonder sometimes how much it affects your confidence more than anything when you're not shooting well. Some of it's the injury, some of it's just your confidence level goes down when it hurts your wrist.
Todd Green's team trailed by 7, but it has worked its way back into the lead. Azar Hayward's had something to do that, and so has Dominique James. Blue Demons, though, are hanging around. How much for?
I'm Lowell Galindo, and we have a lot coming up for you at the Sports Interview Halftime Report. Number 1 and number 2 both win. We'll let you decide who is more impressive, Memphis or Kansas. Plus, Indiana going down against a depleted UConn team. And Adrian Branch will join us to tell us who is the best in the Big East. It's all coming up at the half.
All right, Lowell, while you guys focus on the Stars in the studio, the Stars are out tonight at the Bradley Center.
Yeah, Charlie Villanueva. Check out the bling. He's looking good, isn't he?
Bobby Simmons, the only DePaul player to score 1,000 points, have 700 rebounds, 200 assists, and 100 steals in his fine career.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, started every game as a freshman. That's something Matt Koshwall's trying to do.
McNeil on the drive, left it short, but he blew past everybody in the lane.
Yeah, we've seen that now on consecutive possessions from Marquette. DePaul not closing those gaps, and it comes down to both on-ball, individual defense, and then help side defense. You got to get your big guys in there and pinching those driving lanes. There's nowhere to go.
Jabari Curry handling for DePaul, trying to get this offense going, which is 3 of its last 16.
You know, start with a guy like Burns right there.
Burns unable to get some good opportunities so far. Green missing on the shot. It's one out. Taken down by Burke. McNeil, he just explodes into the lane.
Yeah, they're getting what they want. Nice job by McNeil in transition. And for DePaul, they've got nothing in transition. They've got a few of those dunks. You know, but they only count for 2. And whenever we've seen DePaul in the half-court set, when Marquette sets their defense, their pressure is getting to it.
And when Marquette was struggling, I thought DePaul had an opportunity to build up a double-digit lead. Instead, problems continue. Third opportunity, though, and Green on the position for the weak side. Wesley Green rolls it in, and finally a hoop for DePaul.
And it's always one place to go and get it. The offensive glass can take care of a lot of shooting woes.
29 for Marquette, 25 for DePaul. Late in the first half here from Milwaukee. Jim Barber with Mike Kelly on ESPNU. McNeil to Burke. Doesn't score much, but is a starter and averages about 15 minutes a game for the Golden Eagles.
Go to a 2-man game at the end of the shot clock here.
Acker penetrating, tossing out to Matthews. He goes toward the goal. Shot clock expires, so officially the ball will be turned over to DePaul.
Yeah, Matthews forced it that time. Went to the spin move when it wasn't there.
Women's college basketball continues on ESPNU Sunday afternoon with a doubleheader. First at 2 Eastern from the Big East, Louisville and Pittsburgh. Then at 6:30 Eastern, Army and Navy. Women's college basketball on ESPNU Sunday. For more info, log on to ESPNU.com. Jamie Dixon's the fine coach at Pitt, which was upset in men's action today. As you know, his sister tragically passed away a couple years back, and he has helped organize the tournament that's in tribute to her. And it's one of the teams from the Big East, Connecticut, and a team from the SEC, Tennessee. They're trying to get together for next year, but
good luck.
The two superpowers,
that's right.
They met before, but not
the Cold War.
Interested, at least not yet.
Not yet.
Playing at the Gardens for the game next year.
Well, if there's somebody that can get that done, I wouldn't put it past Jamie Dixon.
Not at all. He's got to be having a tough night tonight, though, after Rutgers won at Pitt.
The Rutgers team playing well. We talked about how they almost had Depaul on the road. Gave that Rutgers team a lot of confidence, and then they go on now to win 2 in a row. And what you thought was one of those teams that was going to be mired at the bottom of the Big East, maybe they're going to get on a roll now. Why not? Everybody else is taking their turn with some big wins, and now Rutgers gets into the mix.
Not the prettiest of first halves. DePaul with 12 turnovers, Marquette with 8.
I was figuring to see a game with a lot of possessions. We have seen that. It doesn't turn the ball over that much, though.
Beal's been having his way inside, but he misses, and now DePaul will settle for the last possession.
Just trying to get this down, especially on the road. Only 1 possession left. Make sure you get into somebody's hands who has the patience.
Matthews up to try to make a steal at half court. Instead, he picks up his first personal foul. We're in the bonus on both sides. Check that, team foul 6 on Marquette. So a foul to give. DePaul now with 8.5 seconds to work.
Foul to give. I'm not sure if he wanted Weston Matthews to do it, but he didn't have a foul, so that's his first personal. He's not a guy prone to foul trouble either. I think you got to give the ball to Burns. Let him create. Sometimes a guy that's so talented, like Draylon Burns is, you don't even have to bring him a screen. You can just let him work, do a 1-4 low. See if he can get a shot off himself.
Burns to throw it into Curry. 5 seconds left in the first half. Back to Burns against Acker. Throws up a runner and scores. And Acker down on the play, and he's hurt.
He's holding his ankle.
Maurice Acker went down in a hurry on the drive and floater by Burns to end the first half.
This just looks like a classic roll of the ankle here, and you hope he's going to be all right. A guy that's played great for this Marquette team, especially as of late, taking good care of the ball. See if we can see what happens here. He switches off. So he just landed on it funny. This will be a good look at it.
Yeah, just off balance.
It's not a screen. I'm guessing he landed funny, probably rolled that ankle.
And so Acker heads to the locker room on a very down note for Marquette. Even though the Golden Eagles have a 2-point lead, 29-27 at the break, the collision with Draylon Burns to end the first half. Burns, the Milwaukee kid, back home this evening.
Yeah, even though he hits that bucket at the end, Jim, as you said, a good first half by Marquette, especially coming back after being down early.
Bo Galindo and Adrian Branch standing by. Let's get to the ESPNU studio. The 105th meeting between DePaul and Marquette rolls on at the Bradley Center. ESPNU College Basketball presented by Citi. 2-point game at the break. Marquette 29 and DePaul 27. Welcome back. Jim Barber along with Mike Kelly. Wasn't the prettiest of first halves, but we move on now to the second half and what's going to be most significant.
Well, I think taking care of the basketball will be the story of this second half. We had a low scoring first half because DePaul didn't take care of the ball. Marquette, 8 turnovers for them. That's high. And then both teams shot the ball poorly. So what we need in the second half is these teams to get up and down, start making some shots, and get into the rhythm that we're used to seeing them play.
Shooting-wise, 12 of 35 for the visitors out of Chicago. For Marquette, 10 of 30. DePaul did not get to the free throw line much, and that might have had something to do with all the dribbling around in the perimeter.
Yeah, the saving grace for Marquette, 9 of 10 from the free throw line. They didn't miss, or they didn't make a three-point shot, I should say, and they also gave up 11 offensive rebounds to DePaul. DePaul doing a good job on the offensive glass.
And let's revisit our star watch, and it's almost a push. Burns with 8 points on 3 of 7 field goals, and Dominique James, who lets the game come to him, 3 of 6 field goals and 4 free throws for 10.
Yeah, it's well said about Dominique James, one of those guys that doesn't necessarily have to get his. Everybody can play together on this Marquette team and just feed off of one another, whereas Braylon Burns is a guy I expect to see a little bit more out of, trying to get his shot in the second half.
Well, McNeil handles for Marquette. Here's Dan Fitzgerald, who's had a quiet evening. Wesley Matthews back to McNeil. And Karan Clark in position for the rebound against Hayward.
There's a 2-3 zone, that possession out of DePaul. Worth noting because that's something that most teams do against Marquette. DePaul didn't do that because they wanted to get back and match up in transition defense. They can do that to start the half. We'll see if they continue to play zone, though, if Jerry Wainwright is worried about those matchup problems.
A Blue Demon team that started 2-7 has been 7-2 since, and hanging right in there with Marquette. Actually had a very fine start to tonight's game and then lost the lead, but is down by only 1 possession here as we start the second half.
Well, a brutal start to the year in terms of the teams that they played. Their schedule was very difficult. That 2-7 record was not indicative of the type of team this DePaul team is, and now we can see as they go 7-2 with some big wins.
Burns on the turnaround, misses, and off the crash of the boards. The ball will be out of bounds to the Golden Eagles.
Well, you can bet one of the messages at halftime by Tom Crean and his staff was getting on the defensive glass. Your job on defense isn't done until you get the rebound, and a lot of people can see the steals and the block shots, but that defensive rebound is so key if you want to be a good defensive team.
That has been a problem for Marquette. It was a problem against Louisville, particularly against Connecticut. But McNeil has such great athleticism, able to do things in the paint that most cannot, and he gives Marquette a 4-point advantage.
Yeah, good athleticism and size. He had Will Walker guarding him. He's got the size advantage and get up over Walker, and he did a good job there. Acrobatic shot, but he made it work.
McNeil has 8 points on 3 of 13 shooting. He's taken the load of the shooting opportunities so far this evening and has converted on few. DePaul with a win tonight can go 5-2 in the league. This is a team picked to finish 11th in the 16-team Big East Conference race. Link Scales looks and finds a receiver, and Clark is on the line.
Now we're trying to
DePaul turnover. That's 13 now.
Yeah, kind of an unforced error there. Inbounds play, not a ton of pressure. Matthews was there, but it's kind of a sloppy play out of DePaul. We're trying to figure out how Maurice Hacker is doing. We saw him go down, obviously, especially Marquette fans calling for an update. And there you see him there on the bench, and we have yet to get any real word on whether or not he'll get back in the game. Of course, I've rolled my ankle many times. Anybody who's played basketball has. Usually, you can get out there and play right after you do it. It's the next day where it really tightens up and the blood flows to the area and swells. Hard to see if it's wrapped or if his sock is covering it up. He's got his sock pulled up high. It's a little bit of gamesmanship, maybe.
Well, that was a nasty fall he took in the first half. And that was on the final possession of the half, and a basket scored by Burns.
Another.
Ball security, a major issue for DePaul tonight. And Kubian makes him pay with a 3.
Well, it's mental lapses right now for DePaul. I mean, they come out of halftime sloppy, and that time there, you talk about interceptions for turnovers. That was a big one. They just throw the ball away, and Kubian, a guy that Marquette needs to be a spark plug off the bench, especially if Acker's not going to play, gets the big 3.
And that's to beat Kubian's first points of the night. Green and the double team trying to find somebody open. That's Clinkscales, and a catch and shoot. He was way off the mark. Depaul from the arc is just 2 of 8, and here comes James. Penetrate, pitch, 3 missed, but Hayward, nobody could block him out. He'll follow it up, and the third try is good. And right now it's all Marquette, as the Golden Eagles have a 9-point lead, and Depaul takes a timeout. Marquette has all 7 second-half points and doing a better job rebounding here on the offensive end.
Lo Galindo here, 6 seconds left in Morgantown, West Virginia down by 1. Deshaun Butler is going to go in for the win with Patrick Ewing Jr. Comes over, gets the block, and Bob Huggins wants some sort of call, goaltending, foul, something. Nothing happens except Georgetown with a 1-point win on the road at West Virginia.
All right, Lowell, so Georgetown remains on top of the Big East Conference with a terrific road win. That's their 3rd of the year, by the way. ESPNU College Basketball presented by Citi. We're in the happy-go-lucky section of the Marquette fans tonight at the Bradley Center. Mike Kelly, Jim Barber, and Marquette leading by 9, and DePaul's got to find some type of chemistry on offense here.
Yeah, they got to get into some sort of flow, and it starts with taking care of the basketball. Not getting good shots. Not getting any shots if you don't take care of the basketball.
Mike, here at the Bradley Center, Tom Green's team is undefeated this year. Winners of 10 games, outscoring teams by an average of 25 points and shooting the ball nearly at 50%. Now, it should be kept in mind that most of those games have been non-conference, but still, the conference win over Notre Dame was a blowout.
Yeah, that was, and so was the Providence game. Start the Big East schedule right. Marquette just blew away Providence in a game that I didn't see Marquette separating that much. Really a signature victory early on.
Lazar Hayward with another rebound. Look at Marquette run the court, and Wesley Matthews slams it home. Defense to offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Marquette does it as good as anyone in the country. That's why it's so important to take care of the ball and not let them get into that game.
McNeil tried to get a swipe of Burns. He got it back. A bullet to Coswell.
Look at him go.
And back on the other end, here come the Golden Eagles. This is Dominique James. A basket and put him on the line. And Tom Green pointed both fingers at Lazar Hayward at midcourt to say, good play.
Yeah, you can call it Kevin Love or Wes Unseld, whoever you want to say, a great outlet passer. But certainly what we've seen is Marquette do a good job of getting their defense and turning it into offense. Wesley Matthews knows how to finish at the rim. And how about Dominique James after the great outlet pass? Nice composure down low. Uses the ball fake to get up. Finishes the shot, gets to the free throw line. You know, my old coach, Dick Bennett, used to talk about Sun Tzu, the art of war. And one of the principles was don't take arrows in the back. You've got to get back, set your defense. That was how he relayed it to us. And right now, DePaul not doing a good job of getting back. They're taking those arrows in the back because they're not facing up. And Marquette getting easy buckets in transition.
Green angry about what he thought was some type of basketball interference or goaltending off the missed free throw. Call not made, and the foul instead on James, his 2nd. In this half, though, DePaul with just 2 points. Burns on the move and the block. That's going to be on McNeil, so 2 quick fouls picked up on Marquette.
Now, here's the thing about Burns, too. I talked about him being a guy I wanted to see more of in the second half, but he's not the type of player that forces too many things. A lot like Dominique James, Burns kind of gets his within the offense, averaging 18 points. Obviously, he takes some shots, but he's not a guy that forces too much.
The biggest problem tonight for DePaul is the fast break category. Outscored 21-9 as Coswell goes hard in the basket, rolls it in, count the basket, put him on the line. And with that, we have a timeout. Coswell's got a free throw when we come back, and DePaul's got some ground to make up, trailing by 9. College basketball tonight presented by Citi. Marquette leading 40-31. That's a very special gentleman on scene right now.
Yeah, kind of the bigger picture. We have the game of basketball in front of us, but the game of life. And there's Trey Schwab A lot of fans around here and around the country got to know him a few years back in 2004. He was an assistant coach with Marquette, director of basketball operations, actually. He had a double lung transplant. And when this team went to the Final Four, this story became known. And now what he's going on to do is kind of lead the effort to try and sign more and more people up to be organ donors. And right now, Marquette, at this game, has got booths set up in the concourse and trying to encourage people to sign up and be a part of the organ donation program. And Trey Schwab, a true inspiration to many people, not just Marquette fans, but people out there see him and what he went through. And he's in great health. Anybody wanting an update, he's in great health and trying to do what he can to help out more people, just as he was helped out.
Wonderfully optimistic guy, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Great to talk to him.
Pleasure to meet him prior to tonight's game. Important note, Marquette is over the limit on fouls already in the first 4 minutes, so Depaul's got a great opportunity to make up the distance from the foul line. 16 minutes of bonus.
And they go zone. Here's the 2-3 out of Depaul. The middle is where you have to attack this 2-3 zone. Got to get somebody in there high post for dribble penetration.
Marquette unable to do a good job of shooting against zones over the last couple of games, although 10 of 21 in the arc against Connecticut, as Matthews rolls one in against Louisville, 0 of 12.
Beautiful job by Wesley Matthews, though, posting up inside. Even though it's a zone, he can still post up. He did it well.
Wesley Green on the low blocks. The handoff to Draylon Burns. Burns gets his own rebound and gets fouled. 18 foul on Marquette. Back to the free throw line we go.
Yeah, Burns staying active. Let's take a look at how Wesley Matthews did it down low. He's got the big body behind him, Wesley Green, but it's his quickness of a guy like Wesley Matthews that he can get the ball and make a move to the hoop. And you give credit to Wesley Matthews getting in there. It's not easy to do. You go against that 2-3 zone, there's so many bodies inside that sometimes you shy away. You want to live from the perimeter. He did a good job of posting up.
Matthews did a nice job against Depaul last year in scoring 12 points, had 9 rebounds in the 5-point loss at the Rosemont. Paul at the free throw line in the bonus.
And you mentioned Draylon Burns played here in Milwaukee for Custer High School. I actually had a chance to talk to his high school coach, Mark Mitchell, still coaching at Custer. Actually got a big win yesterday against King in that city conference. But nonetheless, I talked to Mark Mitchell and I said, what do you remember most about Draylon Burns? And he said he was a great kid, above all, great player, had a great mid-range game, even in high school, and he still comes back in the summer, and they talk every few weeks. It's good to see a guy like Draylon Burns coming from Milwaukee, going to DePaul, and doing bigger and better things.
You could see that one coming.
Yeah, you could. Well, sometimes you can just go inside with a bounce pass. Other times you go to that lob. It's also a high percentage play.
Back the other way comes Marquette on the break. James will hunt down the loose ball. Blue team is in control as Matthews scores with a reverse layup. And I think DePaul's reached a dangerous point in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I think what we're seeing out of DePaul, a little bit of shell shock. Marquette's jumped all over him, and right now they can't stop him on the defensive end, so it doesn't even matter what they get on the offensive end.
Take a look at James looking one way and throwing the other.
Yeah, and what sets that up, you can see it beautifully on that replay, is you got Wesley Matthews flashing high post, creating all the attention from the bottom 3 defenders. Then you take a look again, whether Matthews has the ball in his hand or he's the guy that's just being the distraction. Wesley Matthews putting together a nice second half.
Yes, he's scored 4 field goals on 4 attempts. That one from the 0-point range, and he now has 8 here in the second half. DePaul is not a very strong free throw shooting team. And this evening the Coswalter line is 5 for 9. But keep in mind, plenty of chances if they can continue to get Marquette fouls, because they will be in the double bonus very shortly.
Yeah, DePaul comes out of that zone. It was not working. Marquette got 3 good looks. It's DePaul team probably better man-to-man than they are zone.
Fitzgerald, long range threes, pretty good at that. Misses on that one as he tries to hunt down the rebound. Ball knocked out of bounds.
I watched this DePaul team play Rutgers. Now, Rutgers had that game. We already talked about it a few times. And DePaul tried to go man. Rutgers got what they wanted offensively. So Jerry Wainwright went to zone. They still gave them what they wanted. And at that point, as a coach, there's not much you can do. You got to put your guys out there. But at some point, they got to play better defense than they've been doing. And we've seen them now try the zone against Marquette. It's not working.
Wainwright on one knee toward the top of your screen right now. That's a very deep three from the outside from Will Walker. He can be instant offense for this DePaul team.
Yeah, he can be instant offense. He's a guy who comes off the bench usually, and he's got the scorer's mentality. It's hard to do when you're not starting the game, but he does it. Instant offense.
Matthews in the lane, missing for the first time in the second half. And on the fast break, it's Walker to beat Dominique James. 46-40 Marquette. The Blue Demons at a critical point have scored the last 6 points and are within 6 now.
Yeah, much like the way Marquette started the game, or I should say DePaul started the game fast, but never was able to separate. Marquette has dominated the last 5 or 8 minutes, but they haven't separated. Only a 6-point game.
Wholesale substitutions here at the next whistle for Marquette. A reminder for up-to-the-minute news for everything that it's college sports. Log on to ESPNU.com. If you don't have ESPNU, be sure to log on to ESPNU.com, type in your zip code at the top of the page, or call your local cable operator or satellite provider. Log on to ESPNU.com. Maurice Acker is back in. He took a horrible fall at the end of the first half. Appeared to have rolled his ankle. He apparently is okay.
Yeah, based on the way he went down, I'm surprised we're seeing him here. We'll watch and see if he's at 100%.
Rubion lost the ball, and now the ball can get a little closer. Tom Green's team, after starting off the second half so well, has hit a lull here.
Yeah, you're right, they have. They've let DePaul get back into it. Will Walker's been the guy, 5 straight points. We talked about him being the microwave. Vinny Johnson from the outside, he can score fast. We'll see if they keep going back to him.
Oswald gets the ball inside, left it short. Walker crashed. Kubiak comes back the other way, and he'll try to beat Draylon Burns. He does exactly that and picks up a foul from Burns.
Wow, I actually thought Draylon Burns did a good job keeping his hands up here. He gets in front. There's some contact with the body. But watch here. You tell me if you think that contact is created by Kubiak or Burns. I think Burns does a good job. But nonetheless, it's a foul. Give credit to Kubiak, though. He forced the action, came inside, and then through that contact, able to still square up and get the shot to go off the glass.
And Burns' feet were moving, so the defense is not going to get the call there, certainly. Free throw by Kubiak is good. It's a 3-point play for Marquette. The lead is 9, and Draylon Burns with his second foul. DePaul will bust back after the game. 3 on the way by Burns, misses, and Coswell is going to be called for an offensive foul. We're at the Bradley Center, 18,000 and change tonight. Jim Barber with Mike Kelly from ESPNU. Marquette ranked 20th in the country. And this evening's game dominated in the second half early by Marquette. DePaul has worked its way back into it. That domination includes the activity in the paint, a 36-18 edge.
Yeah, those points in the paint indicative of both Marquette wanting to get inside and dribble penetration as well as the transition game.
Matthews created that one, and Acker finished it off with a 3.
Yeah, that'll make the ankle feel better in a hurry.
So the old-fashioned 3-point play, and then a 3-pointer from the outside, and the lead is back at 12.
Yeah, it's the drive and kick, and once again, that dribble penetration by Marquette being the key to this game. We knew we'd see a lot of it, especially after those 2 road losses, Louisville and Connecticut. Marquette team struggling to score a little bit. One of the things they wanted to do was go to high percentage shots, maybe get to the free throw line, and that all starts with dribble penetration.
Mike Lazar Hayward has his 4th, so on the Marquette side, Hayward with 4, James with 3, McNeil with 3, and double bonus for the remaining 12 minutes. DePaul's got to hit some free throws.
They got to hit some free throws. They got to get some stops. I think what might be the difference in the second half, if DePaul's able to come back, it's going to be behind a guy like Draylon Burns. Playing at home in front of friends and family, he is yet to get going in this second half. And when they want to make up a deficit, he's the guy they lead to.
Blue Demons are 5 for 11 for the free throw line, but we'll get the ball back when we come back. 12-minute television timeout. Marquette 52, DePaul 40, and Matthews, man among men tonight, having a wonderful second half for the Golden Eagles. Is 6'10", 235, a junior from Croatia, and not playing tonight because of back difficulties. averages about 12 minutes a game and a couple of points, couple of rebounds, but just his size in there would certainly help.
Absolutely. They're doing a good job on the glass, but even to have another body right now in a game where teams want to get up and down the court to put in some fresh legs would certainly help Coach Wainwright.
Here's Burns spinning against Fitzgerald, and Draylon Burns now 4 of 12 from the floor with 12 points. And Depaul down by 10, 52-42.
What a shot by Draylon Burns. I really love the way he can work with the ball. Get that nice fadeaway, strong enough to get it off. A lot of guys can't do that.
I think he gets 19th consecutive start. McNeil for 3. Marquette's not had a good time shooting the ball from the three-point line, but that's buried there. Third made 3 of the night in 11 attempts, and here's Will Walker. An explosive first step.
Yeah, nice job by Walker and McNeil here, coming back from Marquette.
Can he make it 2 in a row? And a foul call, and we will walk to the other end. If you're just joining us, double bonus for Depaul the rest of the game.
Well, McNeil goes 1 for 2. He's the guy that shoots 26% from beyond the arc for Marquette. If he can add that three-point shot to his repertoire, I mean, in my opinion, he's better than a 26% shooter. Sometimes guys get in games, and for whatever reason, they just can't take what they did on the practice court to the game, and he's a guy that I think can shoot it better, and if he does, if he starts to bring that, it's quite another dimension for this Marquette team to have one more guy that can fill it up from outside the arc.
Matt Coswell averages 56% from the line, and he is 3 of 6 this evening. 11 points, 9 rebounds for the team captain. And he banks that one in.
Depaul 6 of 13.
Well, whatever works.
Yeah,
huh?
I guess. I mean, it's one thing to be in the bonus, but he's got to convert 2, and that may be a problem for Depaul.
Lately, with the bonus situation, Depaul's had trouble converting 1. Bounce pass from Acker. Burke got it back, and now the ball is loose.
Look at this.
And Depaul's going to have a 2 against 1. Tucker, Coswell, jam.
You know, generally a good idea to throw the ball back in on your side of the court, but that time it led to a fast break for Depaul.
Well, one thing about the Blue Demons, they're not going away.
Wow, they've had every opportunity to kind of pack it in, let this crowd take over, but they stay swinging right now, and it just takes them to hit some shots and get some steal.
Here's Coswell in the open court against McNeil, left it a little short, and Depaul knocked it out of bounds. And the big fella trying to lead the break didn't work.
Well, Coswell can do it. He can get up and down and put the ball on the ground, but take a look at Kubian. Most coaches say don't throw it back in when you're on their side of the court. That time, Kubian adhering to that principle, but he threw it back too far, and this is what happens. What a nice finish by Coswell.
Matt Coswell with 14 points. That leads Depaul in scoring. Draylon Burns next with 12. Blocked by Coswell.
Wow, I think that was goaltending. It looked like that ball went off the backboard.
Maybe we'll get another look while the Blue Demons are on offense and down by just 8. Little stutter step by Burns. Great pass inside to Dar Tucker. And just when it looked as if Depaul might go away, 6 consecutive points. Back within 6, 55-49.
Yeah, you see Burns able to work with the ball, get it in, and sometimes even when he doesn't take the shot, he can get a good look for his teammates. Take a look if that was a goaltending. Yeah, it looks to me like that hits off the rim. That's a tough angle to see it at there. But here's Burns, able to create. You got a guy like Burns, averages 18 points a game. He can shoot from the outside. He's got a nice mid-range game. The defense, everybody has to respect that. So Burns can create for his teammates just by a little bit of dribble penetration. Nice job by the senior.
All right, Mike, women's college basketball continues on ESPNU Sunday afternoon. It's a doubleheader. 2 Eastern from the Big East Conference in Pittsburgh. At the Peterson Event Center, the Cardinals and the Panthers, arguably the best conference in women's basketball, the Big East. Then at 6:30, it's Army and Navy. Women's college basketball, ESPNU Sunday. For more info, please log on to ESPNU.com. UConn's having a terrific year in the Big East. And Rutgers is Rutgers, still just as good as it was last year under Vivian Stringer.
You say arguably the best conference in women's basketball, and if someone wants to argue that and doesn't think they are, you should have them admitted to a mental hospital, because
well, that's an interesting way to put it.
Well, with 7 teams in the top 25 and a few others knocking at the door, Terry Mitchell's Marquette squad, one of them. It's hard to believe anybody would argue with you.
It's a terrific league I've had a chance to work in for the last couple of years. And just seems to get better every year. And the UConn set the bar many years ago. McNeil scores, quiets the Depaul run, 57-49, Golden Eagles. Burns can't get the roll, but another Depaul rebound.
And a jump ball.
And a held ball, jump ball, keeps the ball on that side of the territory. But Marquette's difficulty in the post and rebounding the basketball still evident.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen Depaul do a nice job on the glass. I mean, they're not even the biggest team in the world. Very athletic. They get up quick. Marquette's still having a tough time keeping them off the glass.
Will Walker trying to blow past McNeil. McNeil says, what did I do? He's called for a foul, and we'll step back to the free throw line.
He reached in. That's what he did.
And that's 4 on McNeil. So McNeil has 4. Wesley Matthews, or excuse me, Hayward has 4. Dominique James has 3.
Well, you saw right there. It's Will Walker gets the ball on the three-point line. He already buried one earlier. So McNeil has to respect that. Does a good job of pressuring him, but when Walker puts it on the ground, your natural instinct as a defender is put your hands out. That's what happened. He got caught. It's unfortunate for Marquette, though, because that's number 4.
Ball's getting plenty of opportunities, shooting below its average. It's 7 of 14, and they're going to get more chances the way this is going if this continues with the number of fouls that are piling up for Marquette. Will Walker brings such energy to this ball team. Misses that one. So he gets 1 out of 2, and it's a 7-point game. Think what it might be if Depaul was converting its free throws tonight.
Yeah, missed opportunities by Depaul, especially on the road. You can't leave those out there.
Burke to set a screen on Clint Scale. The drive is by James. The basket by Dominique James. He has 14.
Yeah, once again, a nice slashing move by Dominique James. He's got such great leaping ability. He can get in there, and jump in the air, and then create the shot opener.
Burns on the curl from the free throw line, and the ball comes back to Marquette.
Kubian
misses the 3. James tried to tap it aboard, but the ball comes back 2 against 1, and Burns rolls it in.
Back and forth, back and forth. No time to rest on defense.
Nope. 2 teams play good transition basketball. Marquette's better than just about anybody in the country at it, particularly when converting turnovers into points.
Yeah, they both play good transition offensive basketball, but defensive right now, we haven't seen some great transition defense.
This one tapped out to Depaul, and the Blue Demons starting to run the court very effectively. Right corner, Walker, 3 and away, short. That would have cut the lead to 4 if Will Walker had knocked it down.
We've seen both teams catch a few breaks. Just some missed shots. A few possessions ago, Depaul did a poor job of matching up. Kubian runs the baseline there. I should say runs the sideline, as all these Marquette wings will do, and he just missed a wide open shot.
This Kubian dribbling back out to Dominique James, and 10 on the shot clock. And roughly 7.5 minutes for the game. James for 3, banked it in. And he just kind of looked at his hands and said, what are you going to do?
We take it.
First made 3 of the night, first attempted 3 of the night for James. Depaul throws it away. Matthews gets a breakaway, and Depaul's going to need a break here.
Wow. Give the assist to Acker. Acker's the guy who doubles down on the post. We've got Wesley Green down there, 6'9", 300 pounds, but it's a little guy, Acker. His pressure creates the turnover.
Marquette now with 27 fast break points, and off the hell ball. We're going back the other way. Marquette hadn't won a basketball game in 2 weeks, but that could change tonight. James with a home-to-bank 3, and the lead is 12 with 7 to go. Ball trying to win on the road tonight in the Big East. Ordinarily, that's not easy, but today road wins are coming aplenty for the Big East Conference. Connecticut got 1 in non-conference play on the road in Indiana. Georgetown won at West Virginia. Rutgers was a winner at Pitt. Notre Dame won in Villanova. What's going on in the league suddenly?
You know, the biggest of those is the Georgetown win, though. To go on the road to West Virginia and get that victory, that's one of those victories that I think starts to create separation from the rest of the conference. because not only is it a good win, but you went on the road to do it. Georgetown already the class of this league. But look at these guys here. I mean, it's a dogfight. You got teams as good as Marquette, Seton Hall, Providence, Villanova in the top 25. They'll probably drop out. Syracuse below them. Hard to believe some of the names you see on the second page of the standings.
Marquette with a win can get to the upper half of the division tonight. ESPNU College Basketball is presented by Citi. We greet you tonight from the Bradley Center. Sold out this evening in downtown Milwaukee for Depaul Marquette. Only scheduled meeting of this season. They only met once last year in a game that was won by Depaul by 5. Game that Tom Crean remembers well. He couldn't get a timeout at the end of the game. He couldn't understand why the 3 officials couldn't hear it. Although one of the Blue Demons players swore he heard Crean hollering for the timeout.
He's one of those red flags, the challenge flags.
He said he'd bring a megaphone next time he was at the arena in Rosemont.
Wow, there's the big fella, Usman Barrow from Marquette. Able to get on the offensive glass, something we haven't seen Marquette do a whole lot of.
Gave him some quality minutes in the first half. On the drive, Dominique James. And James adds to his best season total tonight. He has 19 to lead all. Dart Tucker off balance, scores off a bullet pass inside. Of course, Depaul not in position to trade baskets at this point.
No, but worth noting that bullet pass from Burns. His team right now, going into that pass, had 9 assists, only 9 assists and 18 turnovers. So obviously, trading shots by themselves and not working with each other when they are, turning the ball over too much.
Fitzgerald could use the 3, but he leaves that one short. Gets his own rebound. Whoa. And it's taken down by Coswell. Out to Tucker. Tucker in trouble as James tried to hold his ground.
Fitzgerald was going for that Michael Jordan reverse. Needs a little more work.
Not easy for a jump shooter, right?
No, I could never do it.
But I know you tried that time.
Sure.
I know Dick Bennett was hoping for something like that at Wisconsin.
Yeah, right. Congrats to Tony Bennett. His Washington State Cougars picking up a road win at Arizona State.
A marvelous job. Washington State. In a Pac-10 conference that is loaded.
I like what Marquette's doing right here, slowing the game down a little bit.
James misses on the 3. Moving on with the rebound. He'll back it out as Walker takes a look.
I think they're in a position right now where they don't have to force shots.
No.
They can work in the half court. Most important for them to take care of the ball. Try and get a good look every time, especially drive to the basket, too. They were so effective in the first half of doing that.
This possession down to 15. Off the screen, Kubian for 3. And David has had a really good game off the bench tonight.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I call him a spark plug because he can come in and provide some great play, defense and offense.
This is Marquette's largest lead of the night at 15. Coswell now 16 points and 11 rebounds.
Wow, he's been so active inside. One of those big guys that can get from side to side, follows, misses very well. You see him do that here, just crashing the board, nothing fancy, one rhythm dribble, puts it on the ground. We saw him try that early in the first half. Marquette dug it out, but that time, Coswell right back at him.
He had 14 points, 13 boards against Georgetown. Referred earlier to his great performance against the Hoyas. 21 against Vandy. I mean, he plays big against big-time opponents.
Yeah, that's why you get a guy who's a freshman. He can be a captain of your team. He's a leader by example and both vocally as well. He's got an NBA body, and I like the way he works so hard down low. For a big guy, sometimes you wonder how they'll react to the D1 game, and Coswell really represented well.
As you saw by our graphic, Marquette not shooting the ball particularly well from the arc, but in the second half making threes as opposed to none in the first half.
Yeah, 0-5 in the first half, but they've gotten hot here in the second.
6 of 19 now in the game. Rebound Golden Eagles. And out of bounds to Marquette. And with 3:58 to go, Marquette's about to break a 2-game losing streak. Leading big. ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Citi. Whatever your story is, your Citi card can help you write it. Citi, let's get it done. Marquette on a 13-5 run over the last 4.5 minutes has blown the lead out to 15, 72-57. Just a couple of ticks under 4 minutes. Let's visit the Big East RPI prior to today and maybe start to speculate what Joel Lenardi might have in Bracketology 101 when he starts putting the field of 65 together for all of us.
Well, yeah, the RPI really comes into play with the NCAA tournament, not necessarily the Big East tournament, but what you see here on the second page, Villanova, 37. Lenardi right now has got him in his last 4 out of the tournament. It's a Villanova team reeling a little bit right now.
Oh, yes.
Not a lot of presence inside. No seniors on that team. Kasim Drummond not playing for them. They go up against Pitt on Wednesday. Another place to get a good victory.
You know, Pitt's not very happy after its home loss today to Rutgers. Georgetown, your leader, with a huge win by a possession at West Virginia today. Game on ESPN Classic. Excuse me, on ESPN. Now, Marquette using some clock. Just seconds left for McNeil. Can he get it off? And before he does, he's bailed out by a foul on Depaul.
Wow, that's a big foul there. Just a couple seconds left on the shot clock. Marquette trying to work every last second they can out of it. I think that's a good move. I think when you're up 15 at home, you're trying to salt this one away. No need to take a quick shot, but that's a tough foul for Depaul to give at the end of the shot clock.
Team foul number 6 on the Blue Demons, and Marquette will back it out, and McNeil will burn some clock.
All you can do if you're Depaul is trying to pressure the basketball as much as you can, forcing them to take a quick one.
Hayward, score the basket, put him on the line. Zara Hayward to the free throw line. 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go. Little offense in the post for Tom Crean.
Yeah, Hayward, we've seen him hit the outside shot. He started early in this game from down low, but there's the dribble penetration, and Hayward showing he's got the mid-range game too, not just the 3 or the on the block. He can do it from everywhere.
Hayward's line, a good one, 11 points, 6 rebounds this evening, and he is hanging in there with 4 personal fouls.
Well, people wanted to call this a must-win game for Marquette. I don't really believe that. I think it's too early yet to call anything a must-win game. I don't know what you must win it for. If you want to win the Big East, but it's too early to start talking about that. I do think, though, this is going to be, if Marquette can hang on, up 18 right now, it's going to be one of those wins that they'll talk about. Maybe they can turn around what they had going against them, those 2 losses, coming home, getting healthy. And they got South Florida on Tuesday.
At this point, with Georgetown with 3 road wins in the conference, the best team in the league by far?
Yeah, I don't think anybody would argue that. It's got a Georgetown team. It's got a great system. I always like to see in a college game and see all sorts of different systems. John Thompson III did such a good job with the Hoyas. On defense, one of the strongest defensive teams in the league, in my estimation. And then offensively, they just worked that Princeton style so well that it's hard to guard. And they get better at it. You don't see it that often. It makes it difficult to defeat.
Official numbers tonight are actually an all-time record for attendance at the Bradley Center, 19,037. I can't see any empty seats here, although I think a few people have already vacated the premises and are heading out. This game clearly in hand for Marquette with 2:27 left.
Well, you start to talk about the Big East Conference. In the big picture, it's about those first 4 seeds going to the Big East tournament. Who's going to get the bye? And I think just about everybody is still in, maybe a few teams at the bottom of the league. But Georgetown's starting to separate maybe as a league champion, but I think it's too early. It's silly to start talking about that. But the nice thing, the way everybody's beating up on everybody else, so many teams are still in it. Depaul, Marquette as well.
The other concern for some of the Big East teams is developing that NCAA tournament resume and those bad losses that stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, there aren't going to be many bad losses, though. It's a nice thing about playing the Big East is while you may have some tough games, get some tough losses, there aren't many bad losses. Go on the road. I don't care if you lose by 20 or 30 on the road. Just about everybody has done it. We saw Notre Dame come in here, Providence come in here to the Bradley Center and lose badly. We saw Marquette go on the road and lose badly. Depaul had a chance to get that big victory at Villanova. That would have been a huge one as they try and build their tournament resume.
Blue Demons in danger of falling to 9-10 for the season, and 4-3 in the Big East Conference. A win for Marquette pushes them to 14-4 and 4-3 in the league. Draymond Burns up in the air. He's going to shoot 3 times off this personal foul with 2:06 to go.
One of the things people are starting to talk about is Kentucky, and Billy Gillespie has done a good job of getting that team back on track. People are saying, can they be an NCAA tournament team? I'm surprised to hear it already, but if we're going to talk about Kentucky, I think you have to start talking about Depaul too. I mean, they start 2-7 and they're at 9-9, but if they can continue to roll together wins, why shouldn't they be in consideration, even if they went 2-7 non-conference?
This would have been one worth getting tonight, as Burns has scored 17 for DePaul.
Entering the game for Marquette for 32, Lazar Hayward for
Tom Crean, the head coach at Marquette, now his 9th season. As you know, was an assistant at Michigan State, and some of the guys that have been at Michigan State have gone on to do pretty good things.
Yeah, quite a few different people, and that's one of the nice things about a great coach in Tom Izzo, someone I respect a lot for what he's done with that Michigan State program, is you get to bring up a lot of guys and push them off to other programs. And Marquette has been one of the beneficiaries of Tom Izzo and his staff.
How about Dayton? Brian Gregory having a wonderful year there for the Flyers, who manhandled Pitt a few weeks ago. Matt Coswell, he's had a good game tonight. Feeds Walker. Reverse layup is good.
Perhaps a little bit too late for DePaul. Good effort. So tough to get a road victory, though.
And this will be the one place where there will be no upset, as the rest of the conference had some, I don't know if you call them shockers, but certainly surprises. Georgetown was not a surprise, but it was a huge win on the road. But Pitt losing at home. Villanova kind of a free fall, losing to Notre Dame. And Connecticut without 2 key players who have been suspended, winning at Indiana.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprises were probably that Notre Dame victory on the road, a convincing victory. Big efforts out of McElharney and Herringody for that Notre Dame team. They're a dangerous team. I look at Notre Dame and I wonder sometimes how they can lay certain eggs the way they have, because they've got such great talent. Herringody inside and McElharney on the outside. Then a guy like Kurz that sometimes disappears, but at times he looks like he's the second coming of Pittsnoggle from West Virginia.
Now Coswell running the court and hitting Will Walker on the run. Coswell has scored 19 points and has 12 rebounds. Let's go back to the coaching tree and the guys who have moved on to bigger and better positions from Tom Izzo's staff, and think about Gregory and Dayton, how competitive they are in the A-10, and certainly likely to get an NCAA tournament bid.
Yeah, Jim Boylan doing a good job at Utah, trying to bring them back to national prominence as well. And then even a guy that's not on here, Todd Kowalczyk at Green Bay. So you've got the coaching tree that sends Tom Crean to Marquette, but then you've got a guy like Todd Kowalczyk that works underneath Tom Crean. And then he goes off to Green Bay and tries to work with that program.
Of course, we should mention that Dayton was beaten by 17 today at Richmond, but I don't think that offsets the body of work so far by the Flyers this year.
Been a great year.
Under a minute left in our game. And Marquette playing on an 11-point lead. An opportunity to win for the first time in a couple of weeks, protecting its home court. This game important for the Eagles to move up in the standings. They'll get into the upper half of the division with this victory. Ball will drop to 4-3, and so the two will be tied in the conference. Wesley Matthews. And Lazar Hayward up for the offensive rebound. He's had a few of those tonight.
Yeah, Hayward, such an active player inside. Been a great story for the Marquette team, really. I think people could have estimated what he was going to do and how great he has been for them. Hitting shots from the outside, opening up that mid-range game, getting on the block. Very active, and then great at the free throw line, too. How nice is it to have a guy like Hayward that you can put on the post, take him outside, and then know that if he does get fouled, it's almost automatic at the line, over 80%.
3 of Hayward's 7 rebounds on the offensive end tonight to go along with his point total, which is reached 13. 4 Golden Eagles in double figures tonight, led by Dominique James, who has 19 on 7 for 11 from the floor.
Start to look at the big picture of what happened in this game. You have to credit Marquette. They did a good job on the glass, but took every opportunity they could in transition game to get the ball up the court, get some easy shots. Even off of some makes, they were able to get the ball out, get some good looks. A guy like Dominique James led them, did a great job, and then hit some three-point shots in the second half was one of the differences for them. And for the ball, a good effort, but too many turnovers spelled defeat.
Final seconds of this one. Dar Tucker scoring the ball for DePaul, cutting the margin to 8. Marquette wins for the 14th time this season with a 79-71 victory over their rivals out of Chicago.
As I said, not a must-win game for either team, but Marquette doing a good job bouncing back after those 2 tough road losses. Depaul still with the winning record in the Big East Conference. A nice showing. Too many turnovers for them. Didn't hit enough shots to overcome that on the road. But again, a good team, a good game by both sides, and just a better effort by Marquette. Knocked down more shots.
Marquette will be home earlier this upcoming week to play more basketball at the Bradley Center. Depaul hits the bus and heads on home to Chicago to regroup. Once again, our final score, 20th ranked Marquette 79, DePaul 71. Well, Mike Kelly and our entire ESPNU crew, I'm Jim Barber, coming up next on ESPNU Sports Center U Studio with Lowell Galindo and Adrian Branch. For more information, log on to ESPNU.com. The preceding has been an exclusive presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.